I have had the same conversation maybe 200 times. Somebody rolls into the shop, proud as anything, just bought a Chevy for almost nothing, and they want me to look it over. And I have to be the guy who tells them the cheap part was never the car. The cheap part is the engine I am about to pull out of it. There are 5 Chevys I will talk almost anybody out of buying, and the worst one on this list actually killed people. Number 1. The Chevy Equinox, the ones built from 2010 through 2017 with the 2.4-liter 4-cylinder. This thing drinks oil, and not a little. I have had owners tell me they were adding a quart every 1,000 miles, and the bad ones were worse than that. A quart every 300 or 400 miles. Here is why I get fired up about it. The piston rings Chevy used do not hold tension, so oil slips past them and burns off. But the part that really gets me is the oil light. It comes on late, sometimes never. So the first time you find out the engine is starving is when it is already cooked. People were losing engines before 100,000 miles, and the dealer quote for a replacement was $6,000 to $7,000. Do yourself a favor and pull the dipstick every fill up. Do not trust that light to warn you, because on these it usually will not. This was not me guessing in the shop. Owners took Chevy to court over this exact engine, and Chevy ended up writing a $42 million check. Chevy even had a special coverage to replace the rings on some of them. And the way some dealers handled that coverage still makes my blood boil. Before they would fix anything, they put you through what they called an oil consumption test, making you bring the car back again and again to measure how much oil had vanished. The limit they set was so easy to pass that plenty of these engines slipped right under it, so you got sent home with nothing fixed. But here is the trap. These are some of the cheapest used crossovers you will ever see, and now you know why. So if burning oil is Chevy's quiet sin, let me show you the loud one, because the next engine does not just drink, it eats itself. Number 2, the Chevy Traverse, and its cousins the GMC Acadia and the Buick Enclave, the early ones from about 2009 to 2012 with the 3.6-liter V6. Walk past 100 worst Chevy videos and you will not see this one, which is exactly why it is on mine. The timing chains stretch. There are 3 of them packed into the front of that engine, and on the bad years they wear out early, sometimes before 70,000 miles. You get a rattle on cold start, a rough idle, and if you ignore it, the valves and pistons meet and the engine is done. If you are looking at one, start it cold and listen for a rattle in the first few seconds. That rattle is the chain telling you it is on its way out, and it is a lot cheaper to walk away than to find out later. And wait until you hear what the repair actually costs. Now here is the part that makes me angry at whoever designed this thing. The water pump is buried deep behind the timing cover, and the whole job sits jammed up against the firewall. So a chain job that should be bad becomes brutal, from 12 to 18 hours of labor, and from $2,000 to $4,000, and that is if nothing else broke. I personally think this is one of the worst bad buys nobody ever warns you about, because it looks like a perfect cheap family hauler right up until that rattle starts. But at least a crossover is just your money. This next one goes a lot further than your wallet. It is a safety problem, and it is the one I warned you about at the top, the Chevy that actually killed people. Number 3, the Chevy Cobalt and the HHR that shared its bones from about 2005 through 2010. The ignition switch on these could slip out of the run position if you hit a bump or if you hung too many keys on the ring. And when it slipped, the engine shut off and the airbags went dead. So you would crash, and the thing that was supposed to save you simply would not fire. I had one of these in my Bay years back, a kid's first car, and the owner had this big, heavy keychain hanging off it. I unhooked half of it right there and told the dad why. he went a little pale. Because Chevy knew about this switch for years and did not recall it until 2014, and by then the count was 124 people dead and hundreds injured. The company had to hand over $900 million to the government over it, a switch that cost about $1. So no, I do not care how cheap a Cobalt is. If it is sitting on a lot and nobody can prove the recall was done, walk away. A Cobalt that cheap is not a bargain. It is a recall nobody bothered to finish. Quick favor before I keep going. If a mechanic telling you the truth about your own brand is useful to you, subscribe. That is all it takes, and it actually helps. But I know some of you have been waiting for the trucks this whole time, so let me talk to the truck guys. Number 4. The Chevy Silverado 1500. The ones from about 2014 through 2019 with the 5.3-liter V8 and active fuel management. I love these trucks. That is what makes this hurt. Active fuel management is the system that shuts off half the cylinders to save gas, and the lifters that do that shutting off collapse. When they go, they wipe out the camshaft. You get a tick, then a misfire, then a stall, and you are into a cam and lifter job that runs thousands. On top of that, that same system sprays oil where it should not, so these burn oil too. There was a jury trial on this. In California, a jury made Chevy pay more than $100 million over this engine family. I will tell you what I tell every truck owner who comes in. If you already own one of these, put a device on it that stops the system from shutting those cylinders off. Those little plug-in devices are the single best money you can spend on that motor, and I will die on that hill in the comments. But after 4 Chevys I would run from, I owe you one I actually like. Let me end on a Chevy I would tell you to buy. Number 5. The Chevy Bolt, the electric one, from 2017 through 2022. These had a battery fire problem, a real one, bad enough that Chevy recalled every single Bolt it ever built, more than 140,000 cars. The cells were built wrong at the factory, and that could cause the battery to catch fire even when parked. That is the reason it makes the blacklist, and that is the reason the resale price fell through the floor. But here is my hot take, and I mean it. If the recall is done and the battery modules were replaced, the Bolt is the one car on this list I would actually buy. People got a brand new battery, sometimes with even more range than before, and the car now sells for almost nothing, all over a problem that is already fixed. So the rule is simple: get the recall paperwork. No paperwork, no deal. With paperwork, you might be looking at the best cheap car nobody wants. So that is the blacklist. 5 Chevys, and notice the pattern, because 4 of them come down to Chevy chasing better gas mileage and cutting corners to get it. The rings, the cylinder shutoff, all of it. But Chevy did not always build engines this way. If this hit a nerve, you need to hear what happened with the one engine that actually earned its name, the small block 350 V8. Everybody calls it legendary, but there is a side to that engine you do not get told at the dealer, and I broke the whole thing down in another video. Once you hear it, you will never look at that engine the same way. I will see you in that one.